Hello, my name is Tally Bray, and I'm the head of Wells Fargo Technologies Diverse Segments Representation and Inclusion Organization. I'm so proud to be representing Wells Fargo today and sharing in this incredible event as we kick it off, and I really wish I could have been there in person. Like many of you, I am profoundly and deeply connected to the large and incredibly diverse community of people with disabilities. My father has cerebral palsy, my mother is hearing impaired, and this has really influenced how I experience the world and how I think about access and equity and justice and achievement. With roughly 60 million adults living with a disability, and that number only growing, and at the same time, employment rates for people with disabilities are incredibly low at roughly 17%. This is a really important time for us to be celebrating the strengths and skills and achievements of this community that often go untapped and focus on ways to change that opportunity landscape. So I'm incredibly proud that Wells Fargo takes this commitment really seriously. We recently scored 100% in the Disability Equality Index, and we're included in Disability:IN's 2021 Best Places to Work for People with Disabilities. And then in addition, we have internal programs really focused on improving representation of underrepresented and often underserved populations that really allow us to gain access to incredible talent that has historically faced challenges entering the workforce. A really great example of this is Wells Fargo's neurodiversity program, which reduces traditional barriers to employment that start with the interview process and really focuses on a more equitable assessment of skills and a more balanced candidate experience for individuals with neurodiversity. We've hired roughly 30 software engineers through this program this year. That's going to double by the end of the year. We expect that to continue to grow going into 22 and 23. And the beauty of this program is that it's bringing much needed technical talent, often with very specific, unique skill sets, into our organization. And it really reinforces that diversity is a business advantage and truly a key for innovation. And ultimately all of this is really part of a broader discussion we're having around disability justice. And disability justice, as it's framed by the World Institute on Disability, is really about investing in the removal of structural, institutional, and procedural barriers that have impacted people with disabilities at disproportionate levels. So no longer relying on compliance and enforcement of laws as the primary means for inclusion and access. And that brings us back to no barriers. So I'm so excited about the opportunities, events, and discussions that are going to happen over the next couple of days, and really hope that each one of us feel empowered to do our part in being part of this vision and taking down barriers. Thank you.
Thank you, Tali. We really appreciate the support of all of our sponsors, and we're excited to continue to explore this theme of diversity and inclusion over the course of the next couple of days together. Now, many of you, how many out there were at the What's Your Everest? Make some noise if you're at What's Your Everest. Whoa, all right. A lot of us were part of the What's Your Everest. So What's Your Everest, as those of you here know, but those joining virtually may not know, is our annual fundraising event where we go out in the mountains and we challenge ourselves to get up to the top of a peak with a group of all different abilities. And it is a fundraising event that we do here in Colorado. Now, what I'm going to ask people to do, if you're joining virtually or in person, if you weren't a part of What's Your Everest, we are asking people, if they can, to make a small gift to No Barriers if they're able. And you can do this if you're joining the virtual platform by clicking on the donate button. You can also use your mobile phone to text NB Summit to 91999. Text NB Summit to 91999. Oh, look, it's behind me too. That's nice. So if you wouldn't mind and you're able, we'd love for you to take a moment to do that. We appreciate your support. All of the online participation is free, and the programming that we're providing to you is at a discounted rate if you're joining for future events, thanks to our generosity of our sponsors. So today on the mountains, What's Your Everest felt kind of really special to me because of the 20th anniversary of Eric's climb. When we designed this program, What's Your Everest, what we thought is everyone's got to have big challenges in their lives, something that excites them, something that makes them want to keep moving forward. And that's what What's Your Everest is really about. And this year was no different. And one of the things that really kind of set home for me today was how extraordinary that climb of Everest was 20 years ago. It's just amazing to think about that actually happened. And so I wanted you to just have a little glimpse of a reminder of that event when it happened 20 years ago. Woo-hoo. All right. In honor of the 20th anniversary, I want to ask Eric to come back up onto the stage. Eric, would you mind joining me up here on the stage? Eric and I have known each other since just a couple years after the Everest climb. We started doing programming. Thanks, Eric. Come on up. We're gonna podium's just, I'm standing at the podium, so you're just about there. Yeah, thanks for coming up, man. Eric and I started youth programming almost 20 years ago. We thought it'd be fun to bring kids who are blind and sighted on crazy treks all around the world. And from that, we developed a friendship that led to this amazing organization that Eric has helped start. And Eric, tonight we have a little surprise for you. We asked one of your rope team members to share a special message with you, and he couldn't join, but we're gonna play it for him.
Cool.
Hi, Eric. Hoping that you're well. It's Adrian here. I am so excited and honored to be able to congratulate you on the anniversary of your ascent to Mount Everest. What an incredible feat it was that inspired the world, and what you do now to continue removing those barriers of access for those who want to pursue their dreams is just incredible. So my favorite memory of you, of course, was ascending a mountain with you in Telluride. And I remember playing Amazing Grace at the top of the mountain. I think this piece speaks of this grace and light that we all have as we continue all of our ascents towards our challenges and overcoming them. So thank you for all that you've done for the world. And this little piece is a gift to you.
What an amazing performance. Adrian, if you're out there watching us, thank you so much for that message. We wish you could be here with us. Well, Eric, we have a small gift from you, for you, I'm sorry. You were feeling it up here.
Yeah,
You probably got a little
I cheated.
sense of it. You cheated. But in honor of this amazing accomplishment, we have carved Everest into a block of wood for you. And perhaps, and just now the geese are flying over us in honor of your accomplishment. And perhaps one of the greatest stories that I love about Eric's climb that some of you may know and some of you may not is that when Eric summited, the very day he summited, he came down and his leader, PV Pasquale, he said to Eric, "Don't let Everest be the greatest thing you've ever done." This is on the day he did it. He's saying, don't let this be the best thing you've ever done. And so Eric, on the bottom of this, we have carved, "Don't make Everest the greatest thing you ever do." And the reason we wanted to do that is because for us at No Barriers, we believe you've done so many extraordinary things with your life, but No Barriers by far is the most extraordinary. The community that you've built here that is so inviting and welcoming and supportive and teaches people to break through barriers, it changes lives every day. And so thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Now I know Eric wants to say a few words. So Eric, I'm going to turn it.
This is my turn.
It's your turn. You can come up. Your mic is here, and
Okay.
I'll bring
Awesome.
your
Thank you,
Everest
Dave.
away.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you. That was beautiful. Wow. Thanks, Adrian. I'm sure you're out there listening. Wow. What a great night so far, and what a great day. How many people were part of the hike today? So great. Thank you for being there. It was so powerful for me to hike with all of you, to meet so many people, you know, some old friends, some people that this is their first What's Your Everest event and first summit. How many people, this is your first event with us? That's really powerful. And I joined the vet team for a little bit at the summit. Ron gave me a beautiful flag. Are you out there, Ron? Yeah, cool, thank you. So took a nice picture with that beautiful flag. That's quite an honor. And then you guys have seen a lot of Melissa. She reached the summit with her rope team. And she told me that she has a very inspirational message for us here. Check this out.
Hi, Eric. Who's your mama? I made it to 13,050 feet.
Yes.
Where are you? I don't see you. Up here, so that means you're lazy today. But you deserve all the laziness you can get because you're almost retired.
Wow, I'm like the Rodney Dangerfield of the No Barriers community. No respect, Melissa. But what a great day, and so psyched everyone's a part of this. This No Barriers life, it is a struggle, right? It's a struggle for all of us. Like today, some of you are out of breath, struggling, folks in chairs, some of the folks with physical challenges, emotional challenges, right? It is a struggle. It's a struggle to live this life. It's a struggle to define it, first of all. It's so deeply personal for each and every person. And then to push the parameters of what it can mean. And then some days, you know, you're just failing it and bleeding it. And I climbed outside of Moab, Utah with a couple of the founders of No Barriers, Mark Wellman and Hugh Herr, a long time ago, early 2000s. And we were climbing this beautiful tower together. Now, some of you may not know, but Hugh Herr is a double-leg amputee, amazing climber. And Mark Wellman is a paraplegic climber. He was the first para to climb El Capitan, 7,000 pull-ups he did in 8 days. So I had the privilege of climbing with these guys. And at the top of this summit, Hugh took my finger and he pointed at these beautiful towers out, shooting them up all around the desert, these beautiful sculptured towers, sculpted by wind and rain and the elements and time. And I thought, we're those elements, Hugh. We are those towers. We're connected by the shape that we turn into. We're connected by these struggles. We're connected not by our victories, but by this idea that we've been beat down a little, we've been shattered, and this process of rebuilding and re-entering the world and reclaiming our lives and finding what a full life means. And so it's ironic that I think we're all here united by our struggles. I mean, victories are wonderful. Thanks, Bottle. See ya. Victories are wonderful, but the struggles are what unite us here. And I know about struggles because blind climbers face a lot of it in the mountains. And so a lot of you know about our Everest success, but you don't know about the year before. We went to Amada Blam, a very beautiful peak, as a team to try to become a team and really prepare for Mount Everest. And it was this beautiful mountain. Amma is mother, Dablam is goddess, and Jewel Box. And so you climb up over this glittering glacier, which is at the neckline, and you reach the ridge and you climb up to her crown. And it was our dream to reach the summit of this mountain, but it didn't turn out that way. We got up to 20,000 feet pretty fast. We set our tent up on this little bird's nest. The corner of the tent was hanging off this 5,000 foot cliff. I made my friend Eric Alexander sleep on that side of the tent. And then the weather changed. The whole mountain changed. The monsoons came in. We were stuck in that tent for 8 days. PV finally got up to us. We were trying to come down the mountain with all our loads, just stumbling down the mountain, the wind picking us up and slamming us down against the rock face. And in that process, Eric, who I spent all those 8 days with, he slipped and he fell 150 feet. He landed on a ledge, which saved his life, and the team pulled him back up to safety. He went into shock pulmonary edema. His lungs started filling with fluid. And so we had to get Eric down the mountain. We all straggled into base camp about 1 in the morning. We were totally exhausted. We put Eric in a Gammo bag. It's a hyperbaric chamber. It brings you down to a lower altitude. You got to pump air into the bag. And Eric didn't really like being in that little bag because there was a window and he was watching through that window PV, the team leader, read the instruction manual. So not very confidence inspiring. But a few days later, there was a little sucker hole. Very brave Nepali colonel flew in and got Eric down to safety, saved Eric's life. So lots of struggle, right? And it was the next year that we were able to summit Everest. And so that failure did turn into a success the next year. And as Dave mentioned, yeah, coming down the mountain of Everest is where that real no barrier story starts, because you are trashed. You are so crushed, right? Your legs are stretched like, so many times you feel like a rubber band that's just run out of stretch, and you're windburn on top of sunburn. And I think I'd lost 30 something pounds, and I got down below the ice fall that last time, and PV, he turned to me, pulled me aside. I thought he was going to have me sign his baseball cap. Instead, he said, Eric, do me a favor. Don't let Everest be the greatest thing you ever do. And I thought, PV, that's the worst timed motivational advice in the history of the world. I mean, let me go home and rest for 50 years and drink some hazelnut lattes and eat croissants. But what PV was saying was that, these experiences, that they're not for our resume, right? They have to mean something. They have to be a catalyst to more growth in our lives to propel us forward in new ways. And so, but I didn't know what it was going to be. So, I tried lots of things. What do you do after you climb Everest? Yeah. Sky, what do we got? We got our Disney photo up there. Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah. You go to Disney World, you climb with Mickey and Goofy. And sure, life definitely changed in my life and did a ton of media, right? Because the world was really interested in this project. And I have to say, though, this one was the most interesting, or maybe I'll just say the most bizarre. Check this out.
Right after the break, we're going to interview Eric Weihenmayer, who climbed the highest mountain in the world, Mount Everest. But he's gay. He's blind. So we'll hear about that.
Okay, as we head to the break, I'll look.
Yeah. Now, I don't think there's anything funny, by the way, about being blind or being gay, but I don't know how those two words look the same on a script, but it's still a mystery. But I embrace it as the first gay blind man to climb Everest. It's all good for me. And so, yeah, PV said, don't let this be the greatest thing you ever do. And the Sherpas say something very similar when you climb Everest. They say the summit is not the real summit. It's only the halfway summit. And so what they mean, I guess, at a physical, at a very straightforward level, external level, is that you have to get down the mountain alive before it counts in the record books. But I think what they mean at a deeper level is that you have to come down the mountain, you have to descend down the mountain where human beings live and work, down into these deep valleys, really before it matters. I think we have to take the gifts that we have earned through our struggles and come down the mountain and use those as gifts to elevate the world, to elevate our lives, our rope teams, and the world around us. And so for me, climbing Everest, yeah, that was a beautiful culmination, but it led to some beautiful things in my life that I would have never, ever anticipated. One was climbing an ice face in Nepal, 3,000-foot vertical ice face with my friend Rob, who was hiking with us this morning. And I came down the face and back down to Namche Bazaar. And it turns out that I got the word that we had been waiting for 1.5 years to adopt a little boy from Nepal. And we got the word that he was about to be accepted. And so I found myself in a taxi heading to the Helpless Children's Protection Home to meet this little guy, didn't even speak English, who was going to become my son. Check this out.
So Eric,
Yes.
where are we headed?
We're headed to the Helpless Children's Protection Home to meet this little guy, little ragamuffin named Arjun. And this is going to be pretty cool because in 20 years, Arjun, maybe you'll be watching this. And I haven't even met you yet. That's weird. I hope it all works out. I'm a little nervous. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh,
Everything.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you, Cindy. So Eric, there's this little boy right here.
Oh my gosh, this is.
Hey, buddy.
Arjun.
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 Yeah, he's shy.
Arjun.
Shy, you know that word? So how old are you? You're shy guy.
Just like to look around, huh?
So Arjun was 5 when we finally brought him home after a lot of struggle. And he's grown a lot in the last 10 years or so. Yeah. And so and for his graduation, by the way, we brought him on a No Barriers trip. We trekked with a No Barriers team of youth across the Mustang region of Nepal. It was a totally beautiful trip. And I've had a lot of No Barriers pledges over the years. One was to kayak the Grand Canyon. One was to cook for my family once a week. And this year, my No Barriers pledge was a little more personal. My mom passed away before I went off to college, so I had to go to college alone. And I said, I want to be there for my son. My No Barriers pledge is to make sure I drop him off at college and give him a big hug. And we did that just yesterday. We've dropped him off at school. And we love him most of the time. And so the other legacy for me, the other culmination was coming down the mountain with Hugh and Mark and Dave and this amazing team and starting No Barriers. We wanted to build a movement, this movement to help people with challenges. That's all of us, whether they be physical or emotional or invisible, these challenges, to help them break through those barriers, to tap into that light of the human spirit, to find purpose in their lives, and to contribute back to the world in some way. And we bring in these amazing pioneers, people who have pushed the envelope in life, like Mandy tonight, like Melissa, like Todd, these pioneers who who have really lived this no barriers life and have shown people the way forward. And they're scientists and engineers and athletes and artists and humanitarians and musicians, all there to help others figure out how they will move forward in their lives. And I've met some amazing pioneers. Mindy Shire, I got to meet her a few years ago. She's a mom. Some of you know Mindy? Yeah, so Mindy is a mom, but her son was born with a pretty severe disability and came home crying from school one day. He said, "Mom, I can't dress myself. I wear sweatpants to school. All the kids are wearing these cool, fashionable outfits." And so that broke her heart as a mom. Well, after she got over the feelings of helplessness, she got to work. She was a bit of a seamstress. She started sewing, and she took off the buttons and the zippers and replaced them with Velcro and magnets. And the next day, her son, even though she had a sleepless night, he was able to wear those swanky pants to school. And that became an organization called Runway of Dreams. She partners with Tommy Hilfiger, enabling thousands of people now, thousands of people with disabilities to look good, to feel good, to live their lives with dignity, to be able to dress themselves. I mean, this is no barriers. Sam Schmidt, who you're going to hear from, I think tomorrow. Sam Schmidt, he had a terrible IndyCar accident. He became a quadriplegic, and he wasn't finished with driving though. He's partnered with all these amazing technology companies, Aero Technologies, and they built this car. Do you guys see, have you seen it today? The SAM car, semi-autonomous motor car. And it works with infrared scanners that track his eye movements and a puff and sip system that he can use to brake and to accelerate. And he didn't just drive that car. He has raced that car over 200 miles per hour. Check it out. And that's no barriers. Now, a lot of these stories are really dramatic, like Sam and Mindy. They're spectacular. But there are so many other stories out there that are quieter, that are less dramatic, but just as beautiful. My friend Mark Yearsley, he may be listening tonight. Mark, when he came home from Iraq, his leg was severely injured. He decided to have it amputated because he thought he would actually give him a better life. But he sat in a wheelchair for a long time. Just upset, sad, lonely, not the person he wanted to be, snapping at his family, realized he just wasn't who he wanted to be. And he signed up for this No Barriers program. He didn't know a lot about it. And he was going to go climb Gannett Peak in Wyoming. And he started training. He got out of that chair and he started walking, just a couple hundred yards at first, and then a half mile, then a mile, then a couple miles, then 5 miles, then 10 miles every day. And he lost 120 pounds in the process. And the hidden benefit was that he started walking with his wife, and they reconnected, and they rekindled their love. And today they're closer than ever. This is beautiful. And then lastly, my friend Kara, just last week, we were part of a project. Kara was hit by a skier when she was 5 years old. Gave her a very serious traumatic brain injury. And at 40 years old, she decided that she was going to hike back up to the injury site, the place where she was injured, and confront the past. Let's check out Kara's journey here.
She was right at my side when she got hit. She was 5.5 years old. I'll never forget that moment.
It was some, bluebird day, just gorgeous. Wanted to ski that last run of the day. She and Jim sat down in the snow. She was eating some snow, and then boom, stopped breathing immediately. And I didn't know if I'd ever see her again.
And they flew the helicopter right to the ski area, which saved her life.
She's always wanted to hike to the top. She decided, this is a goal. I want to make it to the top. I want to see where I was hurt. I'm going to be so proud of her, even if we have to haul her up in the rain and mud.
What do you think you'll think about?
The way things used to be and should have been and what is to become.
Yeah, just beat the ground, let it out. Let it out, yep.
Missed out on a lot of her normal life. But she's had her own life. She's a very special woman.
I just feel like she's made a big difference in a lot of people's lives. They see the perseverance that she's had. She's just not afraid of life.
Is there anything you want to tell people about you when they see the video?
Just that I am who I am. Here is a great star of America.
Not the world, just America?
Wherever the world is.
Okay.
I forgot. Here is a great star of the world. Go, yes.
Well, Kara, I hope you and your family are listening tonight. You all and your rope team are full on No Barriers. Thank you. Thank you for your pledge too. Inspired by folks like Kara and Mark and Mindy, Sam. 2 years ago, I went back to Amida Blam, by the way. Went back to Amida Blam. I mean, throw logic aside, I got my butt kicked at 30, but at 50, we thought we had a chance. After a month on the mountain, listening to all my friends give very specific directions, crawling on ridges the width of your body, we had a beautiful summit at 23,000 feet. It was a story that took 20 years to complete. So back to these towers that Hugh described outside of Moab, Utah. These beautiful towers shaped by rain and wind and the elements of time. I think we are these towers. We're shaped by our struggles. We are shaped by adversity. But I think we have a choice not to allow those adversities to shape us into something ugly, to diminish us, to shatter us, to pulverize us. But we have a choice to allow them to shape us into something beautiful and profound. This is a transformational process we call at No Barriers alchemy. This process of taking lead and turning it into gold, of taking struggle and turning it into our greatest strengths, loss into beauty, isolation into connection, pain into love. And it's a very important part of this process of living a No Barriers life. Our struggles, yeah, they shape us, but they also enable us to be right here, leaning into each other, lifting each other up. Those struggles become the fuel that power our lives forward, that can give them meaning. So I wish you a life rich with adversity. You all are No Barriers. I love you all. Thank you for being here. What's within you is stronger than what's in your way. Have a great summit. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks.
You got it. All right. Well, we have so much still in store. We've got coming up next. Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you. We got the stage removal here. This is going to be pretty cool, guys. Eric talked about what it means to be a pioneer, and this next performer is an incredible pioneer. I've been watching her backstage, and what you're about to see, I've never seen before in my entire life. It's amazing. Shanae Stiletto is a two-time world champion gold medalist in acrobatic gymnastics. She's a USA Gymnastics Hall of Fame member and a World Acrobatic Society inductee. She also is the first African-American female soloist in a Cirque du Soleil production. I want to welcome to the stage Shanae Stiletto. Wow, that was pretty awesome. Shanae's going to be back up in just a second. She has to catch her breath, and she's going to share a few words. And while we're waiting for her to catch her breath, one of the other principles that we teach at No Barriers that we see a lot of our community members embody is a principle that we call Elevate. Elevate's all about making your life be about giving back to others. Now, during COVID, we had to cancel all of our in-person programming at No Barriers, and we weren't exactly sure what to do because 95% of what we did was in person. And our board president, Tom Lillig, called me up and he said, Dave, I want to do something special for the organization. We need to have a book that's about the principles that we teach, that shares how you can bring these principles to life for yourself, and that shares some of the stories that have made No Barriers who it is. And so last year we released this book, What's Within You, and we released it in COVID, so we didn't have any opportunity to actually present it to the public in a formal way. So this is our first time being on stage together. Tom and I wrote this book together over the past year and a half, and so I'm going to invite Tom up onto the stage, and I want to say to Tom, thank you so much for he donated all his time to this book, and all proceeds are going to No Barriers. So Tom, thank you so much. If you're interested and you don't have the book, we have some books over here that you can purchase, and we're doing some book signing. So feel free during the concert to pop on over there, and we'll probably be here throughout the weekend. If you don't have one, we've got them available for purchase. Now, I want to introduce you to another innovator in our community. Eric, when he was talking, he talked about the SAM car, which is down here. And the SAM car was made possible by Arrow Electronics. They're one of our sponsors. Arrow sponsors a thing that we call our Global Impact Challenge. Do we still have students out there that are from the Global Impact Challenge winners? Let's make some noise. It's kind of hard for me to see. There's a lot of bright lights now. So our Global Impact Challenge is a national competition that asks schools across America to come up with creative solutions to problems in the world. And we have some different themes to these challenges. And so we have a theme that's around inclusion. And Arrow this year is sponsoring a theme alongside Unlimited Tomorrow that is about technology for accessibility. And what better sponsor to have with that Arrow car right in front of us than Arrow Electronics for that technology sponsorship. So if you know a school, middle school, high school teacher or students, these students get together and they submit solutions for a better future. And then we compete to see who wins, and then they get a cash award to make their prize come to fruition. And so we've got two schools here that are here because they won the award and they're making their projects come to fruition. But just to say a couple of words about this sponsorship and why Arrow Electronics is a part of No Barriers, I wanted to invite up onto the stage Joe Varengia. Joe, you want to come on up? Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, everybody. Well, good evening. So I'm following Melissa, Eric, and Cirque du Soleil. I got nothing. I got nothing like that. But I want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you to No Barriers. Arrow is one of those giant companies that you may never have heard of before, but it touches you every day. We don't make anything with our name on the outside of it, like Apple, for example, but we're inside everything. And about 7 years ago, we decided that we could make a difference with technology for the sake of improved mobility. Our tagline, and what it reads on my shirt, is 5 years out. We look at that as 5 years from now being the horizon of technology, sort of that tangible future of what's happening next. And we're working on that. And so is No Barriers. And that's why we're partners together. You've already heard about the SAM car a little bit. SAM is our race car driver. It's also the name of the car. SAM stands for semi-autonomous mobility, because I like to keep things simple. I can't remember two names at once. So it's Sam the driver, Sam the car. And because he has no motion from his shoulders down, he drives only with his head and with his breath. Now, when Eric talked about how under the motto is, don't let this be your last achievement. Well, in 2014, when we modified the car, Sam drove for the first time in 14 years since his racing accident, and he went 107 miles an hour, fastest ever for someone like him using only his head. And he was not through. He challenged us. 2 years later, he competed in the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, driving 12 miles and 154 turns to the summit of the 14,000-foot mountain. He finished in the middle of the pack against able-bodied racers, and he did that race in 15 minutes. And when you and I drive to the top of Pikes Peak, when we have family in town and we want to take them to the top of the mountain, it takes us 40 minutes. So think about it. And no guardrails. And so this year, he had a challenge for us, because when he was injured, he hit that wall at 200 miles an hour. And this year, driving that car out there, he went 201 miles an hour driving with his head. So you will meet Sam tomorrow by video, and he will be, I got nothing, he's got plenty, believe me. So I just wanted to say thank you to No Barriers. I think 5 years out, we'll be here with you. Thanks again. Good night, everybody.
Well, Shanae has had some time to recuperate from her performance, and I wanted to ask her to come on stage and say a few words to all of you. So Shanae, if we're going to welcome you back on up. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure to perform for No Barriers and represent Omnium, which is a bold new circus. I have been really sick this past month, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it to the event. So I had a little bit of time to prepare, and I'm so happy that I was able to perform for No Barriers, because it's such an amazing movement of individuals, and I'm so inspired. And it just really reminds you that there are no barriers in your life, and that if you put your mind to it, you can do anything. And I have a very long history in circus and in acrobatics. I was the first ever world champion in acrobatic gymnastics, as you heard before, competing for USA Gymnastics. And it had never been done before by an American. And so that was an amazing start to my career. And I did it twice. And I went on, thank you so much. And then I went on to run away with the circus, which it's an incredibly unique journey and a very difficult one as well. You don't meet that many acrobats out there, and you don't meet very many circus performers. So it's always been my very unique path. I've always been very grateful to be able to do it and to push myself. And so I was incredibly thrilled to participate in this summit. And again, I'm so incredibly inspired. And thank you again. This has been a really interesting transition year for the live entertaining business that I'm in. And so doing every single live performance, which I haven't had the opportunity to do very much of these last 18 months, is really, really a gift. And it's so unique. And I definitely don't take it for granted, as I know everyone else here doesn't either, of the connection that we're able to experience with one another. I really live and breathe for live performance and to be on the stage and yeah, and to use my body and to see what it can do. And so today I was able to see also too what I'm capable of and what I'm made of. So thank you. It was a really beautiful marker to push myself to be able to perform here today and to continue to get better and better as performances continue to happen more and more. So thank you again. It was such a pleasure. I'm very grateful to be here and enjoy the rest of this beautiful summit and a beautiful cause. Thank you.
All right, well, if you're wondering what's coming up, in just a minute, we're going to hear from actor CJ Jones, and then we're going to get into our live concert. So that's what's about to happen. And just before we do that, I wanted to take a moment to honor someone very special to the No Barriers community. We lost a family member of the No Barriers community this past year, a guy by the name of Ken Melrose. Now, Ken was a very generous man in his life. He lived and embodied what we call servant leadership, this idea of elevating the world around you. He was the CEO of Toro. You may have heard of that. He led a massive turnaround for Toro. He was an incredible contributor to so many causes, including No Barriers. And I wanted to say a few words about Ken, because in honor of Ken Melrose, who passed away from Alzheimer's past year, we have started a scholarship called the Ken Melrose Memorial Scholarship that every year is going to go to a veteran to come to one of our programs. And so tonight, we're going to present that scholarship to one of the veterans here in the audience. But just a few things about Ken. Ken was a graduate of Princeton with advanced degrees from MIT and the University of Chicago. As I mentioned, he rescued Toro from a severe financial crisis and led it for 23 years of success. He was incredibly generous, not just to No Barriers, but he funded the building of the Melrose Center at Christian Union to serve Princeton University. He also established a course in Christian ethics and business. He expanded a medical clinic in Minneapolis to address eating disorders. And at the same center, Ken supported the Veterans Honors Program to help veterans in their last days feel compassion, respect, and gratitude. He also refitted the Orange County Library in Orlando to a highly technological operation focusing on visual arts and filming and digital media. Truly an amazing man. The list of things that he gave back to the world goes on and on and on. And so we are honored to present this scholarship tonight, the very first Memorial Ken Melrose Scholarship, to Charlie Merritt. Charlie, I know you're in the office or in the audience. Come on up. Charlie is a U.S. Marine military veteran, an innovator himself in helping veterans improve their lives, veterans with disability. Charlie started his own nonprofit organization. And Charlie, we are so honored to have you here, and an honor that we are presenting you with this Ken Melrose Scholarship. There we go.
Slide under there. Pick
Slide
it up.
under there. Okay, there we go.
It's not gonna hurt you.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us. Yeah. Thanks so much. All right, well, I'm really excited to introduce you to our next guest before our live music performance. Some of you may know this next guest. He's pretty popular in Hollywood, who's really awakened to his brilliance. After decades of TV, film, and comedy and stage performances that brought him unsurpassed popularity in the deaf and hard of hearing industry, CJ, who's about to come up, is making an impact throughout the entertainment industry. Do we have any Avatar fans out there? Anyone like the movie Avatar? Yeah, a few, right? Well, Avatar 2 is about to come out, and CJ created a special sign language that is going to be featured in this film for one of the alien races. And so that's something that he recently did that we'll be seeing. CJ's also received global acclaim for his role as Joseph, who's the caring father to Ansel Elgort in Edgar Wright's blockbuster Baby Driver. I don't know if anyone's seen that movie, but it's a great film. So in addition to CJ's many breakthrough roles in broadcasts and streaming series, are his accomplishments as a producer, a director, a writer, including short films, co-writing, and directing several episodes of the popular fairy tale series Once Upon a Sign. And so I am honored to welcome CJ to the stage.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow, it's so dark out here. No problem. Can you say hello? Well, I can hear you. But thank you for saying that anyway. I want you to know that I can speak, but I prefer to sign because it's my first sign language when I was born as a baby. And that's where my mom and dad smile. Oh, you're so funny. Now, I'm going to give it to an interpreter who will speak faster with me if he's behind too bad. Are you ready, interpreter? Wherever you are. There you are. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
Hello. I'm very happy to be here. And I understand I have up to 12 minutes, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to give you a tour of how I was raised with a number of barriers that I broke through. Just like our slogan here, right? What's within you is stronger than what's in your way. And what's within you, you can move out of. You can move through with what's within you. And I'll give you some examples of that. I dream with my eyes open. And it all started when I was born. I was born hearing, and I became deaf at the age of 7. I had spinal meningitis. Fortunately, my parents are also deaf, and so their first language was sign language. I have a number of siblings, all of whom are hearing, but all who knew sign. So I grew up in a household of both worlds, both in the deaf and the hearing world. And I had no problem navigating those. So how did I fall in love then with acting? My brother took me to a Mississippi riverboat. And there they had music and drumming, and my brother was a tap dancer. So he tap danced on the riverboat, and I would watch him like a hawk. He would take me to all of his performances, and I learned to love to go with him. And I would watch him, and I realized he's earning some money from this. And I thought, if he can do that, I can do it too. So I started to mime alongside his performances like this, and people would laugh at my miming performances, and I started to earn my own money. It was the thrill of my heart, and it was very inspiring and motivating to me. So I decided to persist in acting. Now, I do want to let you know, I never, not even once, thought that, because I am deaf, that's who I am. I am CJ, and I happen to be deaf. Some people say, oh, I'm sorry that you're deaf. And I would say, what are you talking about? Why are you sorry for me? I don't have any problem. I'm an actor. I'm a writer. I'm a drummer. I can do all kinds of things. What's your problem, right? Because that's their problem. My problem is how I could become successful. And so as I was raised, that's where I set my sights. I went to the deaf school. I wanted to become a director and a writer. I wrote stories about sports and always wanted to learn everything I could get my hands on. And that was my passion. My passion was what kept me progressing and moving. No matter what barriers were in my place, were in my way, I was ready to knock them down and prove that I could do anything. To prove that I could create myself, to create something
right? Not someone else who would create something for me, but I could create myself. I could create my own story. I could encourage others to learn from my role model to be able to create themselves. And that's where I decided that I wanted to be a leader in the future. I wanted to be able to create something different for others. Because if I can do it, so can anybody else, anybody. And so I just continued down that path until I got into college. I continued in drama. I graduated with a computer sciences major. And then I decided I wanted to head off to Hollywood. And I wanted to become an actor and to be on TV. And I wanted to star in movies. But let me tell you, it was difficult, barrier after barrier, doors slamming in my face, no after no after no. But that was discouraging to me. I was disappointed by those doors being closed, and I certainly was ready to give up. But my instinct and my passion continued to motivate me. I was dreaming with my eyes open, and I saw possibilities rather than barriers. And possibilities are powerful things, right? I knew that things were possible. I knew that I had to work hard to make my dream happen. And sure enough, thanks to Edgar Wright from Baby Driver, I can't even tell you. I mean, to try to explain this part and to help you understand why authenticity is so important. Authenticity is the king of what opens doors and breaks down barriers for us all. So when I went in for the audition, it was the first time I'd auditioned in quite a long time. The casting director said, "Oh, I know this black deaf gentleman who's an actor, and he was in a few things, a decade ago. I've got his file somewhere way back in the file drawer. What about this guy?" And Edgar looked at my profile and said, "Well, why don't we call CJ?" And I got the email and I thought, whoa, here's a big audition. Okay, this is a real opportunity. And I got into the room where the auditioning was taking place, and there were a panel of people there to watch me audition. I didn't bring a sign language interpreter with me because I wanted to prove to them that my talent wasn't about my deafness. It wasn't about my hearing loss. It wasn't even about the ability or inability to hear whatsoever. I wanted them to see my raw talent, what I could bring to the stage, and the power that I had to deliver through my acting skills. And what really convinced them to love my acting, right, was I waited 2 auditions before I actually got the job, but I didn't actually, necessarily believe why Edgar picked me. There were all kinds of hearing actors auditioning for that part, and why they chose me for that role. Why did they choose me? Edgar said, absolutely. We wanted you because we wanted authenticity. You are a deaf actor playing a deaf role. In the script that I wrote, it says black, deaf, 85-year-old man. That's who should play that role. Now, I'm not 85 years old. I'm not. I'm ageless. Thank you very much. But nonetheless, he wrote the script for that particular authentic character. So I got onto the movie set, and they watched me act, and I was next to Ansel Elgort, and we were interacting. We became very good friends. I taught him sign language, and we really partnered. And the producers that were behind us, their mouths were agape, literally. Their chins were on the floor. This is what they were doing. They were like, wow, right? They saw my deafness first rather than my talent. And then I started to realize how important it was, not just that a person see the color of your skin or that you're deaf or that you have a disability, but what is your talent? What is your potential? What are your abilities? That's what makes the biggest difference. And now they started to learn how to open doors for other peoples with different disabilities for a variety of roles in Hollywood. Now, having done that movie and produced that movie, the movie was released, and my father had passed away, but my mother was still alive. She was 94 years old at the time, and she was very excited to go and watch me on the big screen. But I should let you know that my mom had only 1 month before she was likely to pass away. So I was hoping that she would survive for the release of the movie, just for that month. And I was really hopeful that she would. And sure enough, my mom held on through the release of the movie. I invited my mom to the premiere of the movie, and she was sitting right next to me in her wheelchair. And I said, Mom, please, pay attention, watch. I really want you to see me there. And she had started to doze off, at her age. I wanted to make sure until when I came on the screen that she saw my appearance on the screen. So I tapped her on the shoulder and said, Mom, look, this is me. My mom looked up at the screen and saw me in the movie. And she said, CJ, you look old. And I said, no, Mom, that's acting. That's my role. That's makeup. My mom said, my goodness, your eyes are shining so brightly. I was so inspired and excited and happy by her comment. So after the movie let out, we were in the lobby, and there were people who had been in the audience who came out to want to meet me and wanted my autograph, and I was signing autographs left and right, and I was so excited to do that. My mom was sitting next to me in her wheelchair, just watching that with the largest smile on her face. She was beaming with my sisters, all laughing beside me. And I went up to my mom and I said, did you have a wonderful time? And she said, CJ, I'm so proud of you. You have worked so hard. I'm so very proud of you. You did a beautiful job. And tears started streaming down my face. I couldn't thank my mom enough. 2 weeks later, my mom passed away. Now, I did work hard to make my mom proud of me in that moment, and realized in that moment that I can't achieve anything. I can overcome any obstacle. I can remove any barrier. I can open any door of doubt, right? I've had enough of those. I will persist. I will continue to spread the message that all of us have goodness within us, and we are here to break through the barriers that are put in our way, to inspire other people, regardless of our color or disability, whether we're deaf or hard of hearing. That's what I want to emphasize. What's most important is our impact that we can have. Thank you. Thank you. The impact that we can have is critically important. The more impact that you have, the more doors that then open, and people's eyes begin to open and see and understand what's possible, right? Whether it's not about your ability. This is true for all people, for all humans. We're all in that same boat to support each other. You impact me, I impact you, and we have reciprocal impact on each other. And the more that people see that, and the more visibility there is of those barriers being removed, the world becomes a better place for everyone. And we walk into a world without barriers. Thank you. Love you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, CJ. It was a wonderful message. I am so excited that we are coming to this crescendo of a night where we can get up. If we're able, we can move around, we can dance a bit, hear an incredible band. If you're wondering about tomorrow, tomorrow starts at 8 a.m. right here with a meditation session with Gabriella Wright. There'll be a full morning of activities. If you're joining virtually, we hope to see you in the morning. We hope you stay for this next concert so that you can get moving at home as well. I want to say thank you again to all of our sponsors and donors who make this possible. We hope that you guys have had an incredible night and that you're ready to get moving and grooving. And to introduce the band, I want to bring up one of our longtime sponsors from Prudential to represent Prudential, Maureen Mirandola.
Thanks. Thanks.
this event fills my soul every year. Prudential is honored to be the Veterans Track sponsor for the 5th year in a row. We want to thank our active serving military and all of our veterans. We thank you for your service. We thank you for giving of yourself for all of us. We are humbled and grateful for everything that you have done. And we're just so proud to be here with you. And for all the veterans that were here, if everyone could just give them a round of applause. It was fantastic to be with all of you today. So thank you. So I get the honor of introducing the band tonight, one of my favorites, Magic Giant, but they do need a couple of minutes. They are gonna get this party started. They are fantastic. So enjoy your night. Thank you all and have a great time.